Welcome guys back to another episode of the Higher Level Podcast. So we've got a very funny episode tonight. We're joined tonight by Justin Flanagan. Thanks for coming back on, Justin.
No worries, mate.
Justin's going to take the lead tonight and ask most of the questions from what he said before.
Oh, follow questions, like always.
And beside Justin tonight, we've got Sean Wright, and we're on to obviously discuss your career and just to chat about that, 'cause you've had an interesting career, to say the least.
Yeah, this should be enlightening. We'll see what we get on to. I've got some tales for you.
So we'll start. I think it'll be like this is your life episode. Take us back to the beginning when you were was it training ninjutsu? You started when you were a young
okay,
chap.
let me see. The whole martial art thing started. I was a really weird kid. Grew up in Spain, just like roaming around fucking the wild, like out in the countryside. I was a little bit different, and I got obsessed with the idea of martial arts at a really young age. I was like, so I can learn like physical skills and just like beat the shit out of like 10 people at the same time. I've seen like Bruce Lee films and Jackie Chan. I was like, this is sick. I want into this. So I was always obsessed with it. I think, and then we moved back to the UK. What did I get into first? I think I got into something. There's a really weird offshoot of Taekwondo called Tukido. So whoever came up with Taekwondo, it was a guy like a high level 7th dan in Taekwondo who came up with it. He was like, I like Taekwondo, it's my life, but you know what? There's not enough kicking in it. So we need more kicks and less punches and more spinning in the air. So I was like, and also we need to change the suit up a bit. So they had this ridiculous suit with like yellow lapels, like fucking ridiculous stuff. So I got into that when I was about 10, and I was like, this is stuff for me. So started sort of learning how to kick and punch and stuff like that, and get into sort of martial arts. I liked it, but I think it was a little bit at that age. I mean, like marching up and down like a town hall, like in the freezing cold and winter, like this is boring. It's not what I thought it was going to be. I want to fight ninjas and stuff like that. So I ended up sort of falling out of it. But I mean, I developed the ability to like kick pretty well, even at sort of young age. But it kind of fell out of it for a while. And then just because I was a bit of a geek, I think I got really into. I was always reading like fantasy books and reading comics and stuff like that, and playing loads of video games, which I still do. For the record, everything I do now as a 38-year-old adult, I do the same stuff I did as a child. I just do it at a way better level. Still play video games, still do martial arts, still all the rest of it. But I get really into video games, and I think me and my mate had been playing Street Fighter 2. Like Sagat was in it, but like Muay Thai, that shit looks sick. Too bad we don't have any of that in Glasgow. And I was in high school by that point, and I think I was about 14, and randomly we walked by a gym up in Great Western Road, Otago Street, and we're like, there's a Muay Thai gym, it's amazing. We went in, and like there were people like blasting pads and shinning stuff and like making noise and like actually generating power. It was like, get me involved in this shit. And I think I started out at 14. I stuck at it. My mate stayed a couple of weeks and he left. He wasn't into it. And I think I went from training twice a week. After a few months I was training 3 times a week. After a few months later it's like 5 times a week, and then 6 times a week. And then it was just, that was me. I was just obsessed with it. It was all I did.
Yeah. And so that was the hook then, when you get into...
Yeah. I think it was just, you get a real sense as soon as you enter any kind of, because I mean there was no MMA back then. And I think that was probably around the time the first sort of UFCs were maybe being maybe taking place. I don't think we had access to them in the UK yet, but it was probably around the time that was all beginning to happen and things were changing. But there was no UFC. People didn't know anything about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or anything like that. But Muay Thai was fairly unknown. Like no one at school knew had a clue what I was doing. I was sort of the outlier there. I was the only person in the school doing it, I think. But as soon as I got there, I was like, this is evidently, demonstrably real. You're in front of someone, you're punching and kicking with full power, full speed, full intent. You can see what works and what doesn't very quickly. And it's like, well, I'm sold. Get me doing this.
See, I think my earliest memory of Muay Thai was actually, I'm similar age to you, so the SNES playing Street Fighter, but obviously kickboxer as well.
Yeah.
Dipping the hands in the glass and all that. Not that I would ever even be crazy enough to attempt it. I stuck to the computers.
Man, I think I saw Kickboxer as well, because I actually saw it. I vividly remember when I lived in Spain, there was a bar just up the road nearby the pool, and there's a bunch of Spanish guys in there, and they were all karate black belts, like big fucking Spanish lads, and they were always putting on like martial arts films and stuff, and I think that's where I saw Kickboxer and Bloodsport for the first time, and that's probably where I first got the idea of Muay Thai existed and was a thing.
Yeah.
Actually, now that I think about it, because I was obsessed with video games, I had a Commodore 64, because I'm old as shit, way back in the 80s, and there was a game on it which was like way ahead of its time. I would love to see a remake of this. It would be fucking sick. There was a game called Bangkok Nights, and looking back in retrospect, it was a direct take of Kickboxer, and it was just a Muay Thai game, just scudding people with punches and elbows, but like little 8-bit graphics. I'd love to get a hold of that.
God, I can remember. I used to have I still had a Commodore 64 up until I was about 20, 26, 27.
Yeah.
Can you, do you get any idea?
You're way too young for this.
So
Way too young for this.
So
Commodore
let's just jump on the computers for a minute. This was always a debate with me and my friends. I preferred the SNES. A few of my friends preferred the Mega Drive. Did you?
Well, see, here's the thing. No one preferred the Mega Drive. It's just that the Mega Drive came out a year or two earlier, and it was the first 16-bit mainstream console, way before.
I had the Mega Drive.
Oh yeah,
Right,
you're fucking 2 years old.
Drive.
Here's the thing: the Mega Drive came out first, so and Sega was popular at the time, and everyone jumped on it because like console level graphics, and they had Street Fighter 2, it was sick. And then Super Nintendo came out and just shat all over the Mega Drive. And now people didn't like that, so of course, they had this big debate, but clearly. Obviously, the Super Nintendo had the better games collection by like a long shot. It was infinitely superior.
Yeah, Nintendo is far better.
I also had this.
Okay, fair, sorry.
Did you see?
I was a wee guy.
I
didn't even know what it was.
Let's see if you can. My friend had an attachment for the Sega Mega Drive that he got, and it was like a Mega CD thing that attached on the computer.
Yeah. They have some rotten games on that though.
Oh, aye, it was horrendous.
Yeah.
No, I was SNES through and through.
Yeah, me too. Loved it. What was your favourite game?
God,
give me top 5. I won't hold you to
right.
it.
So no, Street Fighter is definitely up there. It's because it's the first game I can remember. God, I'm struggling to remember now what else I had. It's that long ago, and my brain cells there's that many, and I'm dead now.
So did you get it when it first came out? You'd have got.
Yeah, I got it
for Super Mario World. Everyone really
right. Super Mario. There was a game. No, I can't remember the name of it. You were like a knight. And you would obviously get through the levels.
Super Ghosts and Ghouls.
That's the one.
Boom.
That's it. That's the two games that stick out.
That
Street
game,
Fighter and Super Ghosts and Ghouls.
Did you complete it?
I can't even remember, but I just knew that if you get hit, your armour come off, you're naked.
Yeah, butt naked, and then a skeleton. Unless you get your armour back, but you had to level up. Because I know this because I recently repurchased Super Ghosts and Ghouls on the Nintendo Switch because you can get it as an old school download. So I got it and I actually played through it and completed it again. No need to brag, I know, but last week I actually completed it again. Loved that game. That was hardcore though.
That's one. I can't remember a lot, but that game really sticks out for me. I love that one,
yeah,
and obviously Street Fighter. That's got to be up there for everybody.
Yep.
Favourite character in Street Fighter?
Ryu.
Ryu
all the time.
Oh no!
You know Sagat is a real guy.
You
know about this?
I know Sagat.
Really?
I was just going to say I was watching videos of him hitting pads.
Yeah,
the other day. 60, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. I went to the gym he was at. I missed him that day, but he's the guy Sagat in Street Fighter 2 is based on a real like legendary Muay Thai fighter. I mean, he's got 2 eyes to the last time I saw anyway, but bald head and everything. But he was a bit of a legend back in the day, and that's who they based the character on.
I never knew that.
Yeah, I've watched unboxing. I'm posting stuff about him on Instagram.
Yeah.
No, my favourite character was I'm forgetting his name. Blanca. That's it. All the time we could do the electric.
He was a fast man.
And I was always Ken over Ryu though. That's the only
yeah. He was it's a bit much that.
And then of course Jean-Claude Van Damme came along and fucking ruined it all with that horrendous film.
Kylie Minogue and that. Vile. That was vile. But then the Japanese came along and they did the anime of Street Fighter 2. Remember that? They did a really good anime.
Oh, aye, I do remember that. It was brilliant.
It was great. Like everything was awesome. Like amazing fight scene. Chun-Li gets her tits out. It was fucking awesome.
That's right. And does who does Chun-Li fight in it? Does she know fight Vega in it?
Vega.
Aye.
I'm enjoying how much of a fucking geek I am right now, because actually see the bosses in Street Fighter 2, because you had Vega, Balrog, M. Bison and Sagat, right? Sagat, he's fine, he was just named who he was Sagat after Sagat, but there was a bit of a problem between the UK marketing and the American marketing, because if you look at Balrog, what we know is Balrog, he looks a bit like someone.
Aye.
Vaguely like Mike Tyson, right?
Yep.
So actually, I think in the US, or in one of the ones, the original naming was that Balrog, the boxer, was called M. Bison. But Mike Tyson was like, are you fucking kidding me? Lawsuit. Done. So they had to change all the names around.
And then they put Bison
Yep. So originally, what we know as Vega, the Spanish guy, was called Balrog, I think.
Right.
Vega was the one with the claw, wasn't he?
Aye.
M. Bison, the head boss, who was originally called Vega, I think. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. And Balrog, the boxer, was called M. Bison originally. So there we go.
They done the switch around then?
Had to switch around for legal purposes, so I hear. Bit of useless trivia for you guys. You're welcome.
No, it's I'm always learning, learning for a bit of my childhood. But obviously, we want to talk a wee bit about your career as well. So you get in that gym early. Obviously, you saw that gym in Glasgow. Get in there and started training Muay Thai. At what point did you go for just training to think, right, I want to actually get in a ring and I want to actually fight now?
Well, I think I got a stage where, I got really obsessed with it really early on. I loved it. It was just straight from school there every single day. At the weekend, I was obsessed over it. And getting a little bit better in sparring, but it was just such a different environment back then. And I wasn't a particularly tough kid. I'm from fucking West End of Glasgow. I'm from Hillhead. I wasn't tough at all. So I got into that environment and it was just so different. It was like 12-ounce gloves maximum. I didn't even know you got such a thing as 14-ounce gloves. And I was like, you can put pads in your legs? We didn't find this out till we were about 18. So we'd hit pads and then we'd start sparring. We'd stick the gloves on, you maybe put gum shields in, no shin guards, and you just punch each other's teeth in. Like bare shin smashing off each other. And that was just the environment I grew up in until I was about 18 or so. So like 4 years of like grown men just like smashing each other's teeth in. So I think that went a long way to toughening me up at least a little bit. I think I had my first interclub when I was 16. I was still quite a nervous kid at that point, a little bit shy. I was always super shy as a teenager. And my coach was like, well, Sean, will you fucking do an interclub, please? You're getting really good. I was like, I don't know. I'll fucking do it. So I came in and did my first interclub, which I was super nervous about in the gym. And I'd only been training about 2 years, but I was beginning to like, looking back, putting shapes together and putting combinations together, I could see like things were beginning to work, and I had an idea that I was beginning to get it a little bit. And they put me in an interclub, but they didn't have anyone my age, so they put me in against this fucking grown man. So I looked across and this like bald headed, like vicious looking Glaswegian guy. I was like, what the fuck is this going on here? Like, Johnny, you sure about this, man? And it's like, I'll be fine, off you go. And so I'm like, okay, no problem. Touch gloves, baff, like fucking melts me with the right hand. I'm like, I don't want to do this. But I think it was that first interclub was the first time I went into like survival mode, because I think you'll see the phenomena a lot, especially with early fighters. I got hit so hard, which scared me. And it was like, fuck, I don't want that to happen again. Yeah. So I'd better punch absolute fuck out of this guy, because if I stop hitting him, he's probably going to hit me back. So I think that was the first time in my life I'd ever really pushed myself way harder than maybe my athletic or my fitness could maybe tolerate. Because for that, as soon as I got hit really hard and put down, I got up and just went like full speed, full power, like bam, 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 and then ended up fucking leathering this poor guy for 3 rounds. And at the end of I'm sitting there like, at the end of this guy's like, get this fucking kid off me. And then went into the changing room, just absolutely destroyed, melting, never worked that hard in my life, and like vomited everywhere. So that was my first time I was like, oh, there might be a little bit more to it than just sparring in the gym. But did another couple of interclubs, and then I think I was 18, and my coach, I was in the gym, and I came in, and my coach was like, Sean, you're fighting in a month, get on the scales. I was like, what? I was like, for fuck's sake. But I was super nervous, but I think my coach recognised quite early on that if left to my own devices, I probably wouldn't have had the drive or the confidence at that age to do it, because I was around people like, maybe there's some guys that really should get more credit and talked about a little bit more in the Muay Thai community, like guys like Stevie Shedden and Stevie Houston. They were like my peers at the time. They're a little bit older than me. They were the ones punching my teeth in and helping me out a lot in the gym, and they were all fighting professionally, and I looked up to them a lot. They were like British champions at the time. And then I think they needed someone else for the show, and I was sort of still quite young at the time, but I got into that. And my coach just told me, he was like, you are fighting now. I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm fighting now. So that was it. And then I think as the fight came a little bit closer, a little bit nervous, but I was getting a little bit more mature at that point, like 18 years old. I started sort of running a little bit and sort of getting a bit more confidence in my strength and speed and understanding of how to sort of understand the game of Muay Thai and how it all sort of plays out. And I weighed in for my fight. My opponent didn't turn up. I think it was a bunch of Belgians were being brought over. Right. And on the day of the fight, my opponent didn't actually turn up. And what eventually happened was I was really disappointed. I was like super emotional, like, fuck, all that work for nothing. But then right at the end of the fight, in retrospect, I think my coach knew fine well what was happening, but he didn't want to put any pressure on me. right towards the end of the show, he was like, John, we found you an opponent, quickly get changed now, go. So I was like, fuck, like upstairs, towel along, get rubbed down, get put into the ring, and it was just against one of the other fighters, and he was being a replacement, and I'm sure my coach knew all about it, but I think he made a good decision not putting any pressure on me. So very quickly, 5 minutes, I'd gone from being super chill to fuck, I'm in the ring, and then boom, I was in there. Sort of first time ever, like sort of bare shins in front of 200 or 300 people, which to me at the time was huge, because I was, like I said, I was a super nervous kid. Like I was a kid in school who, remember in English you had to go up and you had to do a solo talk, you had to stand up in front of the class and be like, I like fucking 80s pop or some shit like that, just talk about whatever. It's super embarrassing. I couldn't do it. I was so nervous at that point that I would stand up and I would just sort of stutter away and then have to be like escorted off the premises. So I was super nervous. So this was, but I was kind of coming out of my shell a little bit by that point, and this was the first time I was now put in front of 200 or 300 people, and this fucking rabid fucking Belgian guy who looked like being just like he's a lovely guy, but it's like, what the fuck? So get into that, and again, in my head, my first fight was quite technical. Kind of fake left, fake right, a little bit popping with the jab, hit him with a couple of body kicks and stuff. But I look back and all I'm doing is I'm just clubbing this guy with left body kick and right body kick, like boom, 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 boom. And again, in my head, I had a really strong finish because I was beginning to get a little bit smarter as a fighter. I was like, what did I do? I fake a jab to the head, then I fake a jab to the body, and then I cracked him with this really crisp right hand right in the button, went down, I stepped off. It's like, that's not what happened. I saw the video a few years ago. I basically just ran at him like, I just fucking clubbed him with an overhand, like this ape punch, boom, clubbed him to the ground and was like, went back to my neutral corner and... yeah, so I got the win.
So you built it up as this beautiful technical
well,
finish.
In my head, I just thought it was better than it was. I saw the video, I was like, oh, that was not. That was nice because it was my first fight. I got a win by knockout, and it really, and I distinctly remember because I was getting lifted up. My coach, I was like, I'm the fucking man because I banged some fucking guy out in a couple of rounds, and there was a guy in the crowd coincidentally who I'd went to school with about 5 years ago. He used to bully me, and I was like, oh, you're here. Things have fucking changed. We are so. Is
that see getting that first fight? Obviously you'd fought in inter clubs, but that first fight and then getting that win, does that really mean the hook set in for competition? And
yes and no. I mean, it got a little bit complicated after that. What I will say is, like, I think Justin will probably agree. I think after you've had a fight, especially if you've won, like you don't know any peace of mind in life like you get for a few days after a fight when you've won. Just everything is just like serene, chilled. It's like life has just got the volume turned down.
It's the best feeling in the world, man. It's that you didn't see, especially like the minute, even if you're announced you've won or if you win by submission or knockout, it's like you're just there.
Yeah,
it's just like this moment. There's nothing else matters. It's like, wow, I've done it.
Yeah,
fucking right, I've done this. It's like, it is just what you say. For the next couple of days, that you wake up in the morning with a spring in your step, and you're like,
I'm up at 6 a.m. If I win a fight, I'm up 6 a.m. the next day. It doesn't matter what I've done, and everything's just, nothing can get under my skin at that point. I think that's the potentially double-edged sword there, because that's where the addictive nature of it comes in. Because to be honest, I don't think there's times I've enjoyed fighting, there's times I've been driven to really succeed and do well, but I don't know if I always enjoyed fighting. I loved winning, I loved training, I loved winning my fights, and I loved that feeling of peace after that you just can't get anywhere else.
And I guess the double-edged sword of that as well is it's the highest to the highs, but comes with that, and especially in fighting, there is those lows. If you lose a fight, what's the difference? Like, obviously, you win a fight, you're so happy. Obviously, like say, everything's serene for a couple of days, but counterbalance that way when the fight doesn't go your way.
Yeah, looking back, I mean, I had like 47 Muay Thai fights, 5 MMA fights. It's not always as clear cut as I feel great after winning a fight and terrible after I lose a fight, because I've had fights that I've won, especially as you begin to get more and more experience. Like there was times in Thailand where it was maybe I was fighting on Friday night and then I'd do again like another fight on the Wednesday and then another fight 2 weeks later. So the individual fight in itself doesn't seem as intense. And I think there's a certain value to that as well. And so I didn't get those extreme highs. It would take something a bit more serious to get that out of me. But there's been fights that I've lost as well that I've come out of it and I'm like, nah, that was okay, that was cool.
Yeah.
A couple of fights I've had in Thailand where maybe I fought really well and maybe I didn't get the win on points, but I was like, no, that was a good fight. I fought really well. It was a brilliant tear up, and I don't think I could have really changed much else. Maybe I'd like to have got the decision, but didn't necessarily get it. And also, I think when you're taking a fight career as a long-term thing, especially in Muay Thai, Muay Thai fighters don't have perfect records.
Yeah.
MMA guys don't necessarily have perfect records.
Nobody knew his.
No, I don't. I think
it's not like the only sport that you've got guys with perfect records is boxing.
Exactly.
The thing as well,
even that's dying it.
Yeah.
But the thing as well, I found, even when James is on and we speak about this with his fighters, he's not always look at the wins, no the be all and end all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's support, and you see a lot of guys who lose a fight. Like we just saw Kevin Lee there; he lost a couple of fights. Sometimes that's your opportunity to grow.
Yeah. Sometimes you rock it up his ass. Like, I really need to switch on here. I really need to, I need to prove I'm at this level. Like guys at the UFC, especially, you can see guys going 2, 3. Very rarely more than 3 losses on the bounce, and they'll come back that 4th fight and they'll absolutely start somebody.
Yeah.
And sometimes like they've just, some people hit a slide. Sometimes people can hit a slide, and then same again. There's the highest, and lows. If you hit that bottom, if you're on that slide, you know the only way is back up. But you need to earn it. You can't just expect it to come.
Yeah.
You have to make changes. You have to graft your arse off.
It's something you see with some fighters. Like you remember when Joanna and Jacob lost their fights, but she didn't accept any responsibility for the losses. Almost there was always
blame.
Sometimes it's worrying when you see that for a fighter. There's always an excuse. Sometimes you need to bear some responsibility yourself.
100%.
I've been on that sword when I fought that guy last year, that Dutch kid, that James Eggers. That was a personal problem. I mucked up with before we got hands on the day of the fight, and I was ill. When I was not well, and I made sure I corrected that for when I fought in that MTK show, and I was a different person altogether.
No, you obviously had a tough fight in the MTK show. It didn't go your way, but you seemed,
I loved that.
You were happy with the performance, and you felt you got a lot out of that fight.
I mean, it kind of gives you a taste for it. It was a bigger show. Like you're in a spot, like it was set up really cool. It was like the biggest show I've ever fought on. Like I fought on top, not here. I fought in Power Scotland, I fought Thai, but that was like another step again. It's like, wow, I want to be here. I want to be on shows like this, because like you go for fighting like the community centres and like hotel like rooms and stuff like that. Then you once you start getting into bigger places and arenas, it starts giving you a proper hunger for it. And then it's one of the things as well. A lot of people can't deal with that.
Right.
But sometimes I walked into that, even walking into that arena, and I was like, this is fucking sick. I was like, this is going to be class, man. I feel amazing for this.
It's kind of like a boost for you. It's like this is where I want the trajectory of my career to go. Take places like this.
He never aspired to be the guy who fights in a community centre.
No,
So you have to earn your stripes, don't you? It's like anything. Once you start grassroots at the very bottom, into clubs and gyms, and then you start small like club shows, and then if you start like going like getting better, you fight more experienced guys, get more experience, and everything kind of builds up. And then once if you're lucky enough to get to the pinnacle of the sport, you're fighting in arenas with 50,000 people, and you can only there was only a couple of thousand people that show I fought in Liverpool,
still
and it was like see the buzz of that walking out. It's like, regardless if you're getting booed, if you're getting cheered, they're going to watch you fight. They're
the song or anything.
I don't know, see if they Doncaster or
Looking back, like some of my hardest fights, I would say, were like fights that were in like town halls or nightclubs, like nightclubs.
Has been a
like
few
there was
nightclubs,
you couldn't say like my first fight was the easiest, my 52nd was my hardest. There's no sort of like some of the hardest fights. Probably the hardest fight I ever had was my third fight. It was only 3 3-minute rounds, but it was just a ridiculous like
pace.
Oh, just blinding pace. Like it was the most tired I've ever been in my entire life. It's the hardest I've ever pushed myself, I think, in my life. And that kind of set sort of standard for how far I know I can go.
Yeah.
But there's been times where I fought in front of like thousands and thousands of people, but it's just not. And again, like there's so many factors that come into play with that in terms of being able to understand how to pace yourself, how to be a smarter fighter, how to call the shots better. And again, like a younger, more headstrong fighter like I was when I was like, let's say 19 when I had that fight. I didn't know any better than to be blinkered and just be like go foot on the gas for 3 minutes and then bing ding and then rest, then foot on the gas for 3 minutes. So that, I mean, of course, so you learn to be smart, but some of my hardest fights were earlier on.
I guess you need those fights early on. That's the point of them, because you can look back at them and think, right, I need to change this, and that's why you get to the big shows, because you're growing as a fighter continually.
Well, if you're looking at someone who's, especially look at like Ty, for instance, who've routinely got 200-300 fights.
Yeah.
Now, when you're looking at that, you're taking each fight is not in itself important. So you're not going to, there is no way as a Thai fighter fighting like that you're going to win all your fights. The average like decent Thai fighter, they've got like 20-30% loss streak, which is that's a bit normal. But you're going to learn. I mean, it sounds such a cliche that you're going to learn from a loss, but you really are. And again, whether you win or lose doesn't necessarily mean you haven't taken anything good from it. And the amount of experience you get from racking up those fights is huge. And there's a lot I would get from just fights that, win or lose, maybe just seeing out 5 rounds in it. Like my coach was on my case a couple of times, because when I moved out of Thailand later on, I think I was probably like mid-20s, and it was like, I had a good bit of momentum behind me, and I'd won a few fights in a row by like really quick finishes. And my coach was legitimately like, stop fucking knocking people out with low kicks, because you're not getting any experience. You're going in and you're getting 2 minutes of action when I want you to be going in getting 14-15 minutes of ring time and ring experience, trying stuff out under pressure, and you're learning. So not all fights are necessarily high pressure fights. Some fights are lessons. They're going to stand you in good stead for the higher level shows where it really counts. So you better learn those lessons at a low level show, so they're well learned and they're in place by the time it really does count.
I guess that's just smart coaching as well, telling you you can't. You're not going to get away with that as you keep going up. So you have to round out your game.
It's great blasting guys out in 30 seconds, but you can't. It's not going to be forever. That you should.
It's
one thing I think we're lucky with James. Like and even I always take it into ourselves, Dave. But way James coaching us and that too, and it's like we learn everything. We learn so much about ourselves every single time you fight. It's like you didn't. Once you get, that's where a lot of people get weed out, and like they'll hear a couple of fights, then they'll fade out, because see if they hear a couple of fights and they win both of them, and they win quick, they think they know it all. And then sometimes they get a blinker system on, and they just don't listen to anybody, and they don't take anything in. That you'll see, like, which is I'm saying she does, but that's what you're saying about Joanna. She didn't take any responsibility for losing the fight. She blamed it on other factors, when if you get beat, you get beat. As Sean said, and as we said, there's nobody now outside a boxing curriculum with a perfect record anymore, because everybody's evolving at such a high pace, and there's never going to be this one top dog. And especially with MMA, the variables are like there's so insane, like, I mean, it's such a cliche, but there's so many ways to win or to lose so quickly in MMA if you let your guard down for a moment. So, and especially with face melters. I know, Jesus.
It's true. It's the thing with MMA as well is it's like obviously you see MMA maths, which doesn't always work out, because there's such a mix of styles involved. Potentially your strength is better than another guy's strength, and this guy beats that guy. I mean, I saw something at the weekend, like, quickly at Bellator. I'd like to get your opinion on. Terry Brazier fought Soren Back, which I thought was a bad matchup anyway. I'm going to be honest, like, I never even watched it. I'll give the synopsis of the fight. Basically, obviously, Soren Back's grappling's fantastic. So Soren Back got Terry down, and Terry really couldn't do anything. He struggled to get up, and basically Soren Back done what Soren Back does. He out-grappled him, kept him on the ground, won the fight by decision. So that was fine. As he was doing his post-fight interview, Terry Brazier then came on the mic and basically said, "Fuck you." All you wanted to do was sit on me. And I thought, right, okay, that's I don't really get that, because it's no on Soren Back, it's kind of on Terry Brazier to learn to go up. It was just when we were talking about excuses here, I thought that was probably not the best way to handle a loss.
That's just bad sportsmanship. That's like, it doesn't matter if you think like that's all the guys. If that's his game plan, that's his game plan, and he's succeeded and he's held you down. It's on you to then take responsibility. Right? How did I know how to get up for there? Why could I not make the leverage or the angle to try and get my hips out, try and get my hooks, try and get my guard back, trying to control them or whatever? It's like you need to start questioning yourself and analysing your game. Don't just analyse the guy that's just beat you, because you know what he done to beat you. He's just lay on top of you for 15 minutes. So you have to then look into yourself, into your game, speak to your coaches. Can we watch this back? Can you notice what I've done? How can you show me how to deal? If you don't know how to deal with it, then learn how to deal with it and put it under practice. And
I mean, I don't know the fighters involved. I mean, you're absolutely right. And I think any fighter out there who's been in the game long enough and has any kind of integrity realises that, like, some degree of ownership has always got to be on you to take control of stuff like that. But again, having said that, if you've just been in a really frustrating fight, chances are you're running on emotions and adrenaline, and you're like, hey, you fucker, you didn't want to fucking fight, all the rest of it. Chances are he goes back to his locker room, gets a shower. It's like, fuck.
I would have agreed with that,
the truth.
but there was he posted a few, because that's kind of what I thought, right, emotions are running high, he's in front of a home crowd, but then there was a couple of posts on Instagram after the fight. So
surprising that as well, because Terry Brazier's been about the game a long time, he's no a mug as well. He's a legit guy. Like a few years ago, he was a savage. His fight with Reece McKee was that 2 years ago now, a year ago now. What one of the best? It was unbelievable, man. Reece was on a tear. Terry Brazier was on a tear, and he came out and absolutely builded these. It's
just sometimes you don't like to see it, because you always feel like they're maybe missing an opportunity to improve their game. For you as well, Sean, when you obviously were fighting in Scotland, fighting in the UK, eventually you moved out to Thailand and started fighting out there. What was that culturally? What was that like for you? Because I mean, that's obviously a massive change.
Yeah. Well, I think what was I saying there? I think I was talking to like when I was first fought at 18, and then I fought again when I was 19. I get fucking panelled off this Dutch guy. What the fuck? My coach was like, "Okay, you're awesome now. You've got one knockout. You're going to be great. We've got this Dutch guy who's going to be over. He likes hooking and low kicking. You'll be fine with him." I did okay. It was I lost that fight. I remember distinctly him wrapping his fucking shin around my face. Like, it was my first really bad cauliflower ear. It went the distance, but that was the first time someone had really landed a lot of low kicks on me. I think I've still got a bit of sort of calcification kind of behind my knee. I can feel this sort of bony bit. Been there for 19 years now. But that was a tough fight. But either way, I had one when I was 18, one when I was 19, and I was like, well, I don't want to do that as much anymore. It's like, and again, I was kind of a late starter with the girls. I had a couple of girlfriends at that point, but it's just too focused on Muay Thai. But when I messed around with training. I never stopped training, but I took my training kind of down at that point. Started having a couple more nights out and stuff like that. And then I met my girlfriend when I was 20, and we got together. We got really close. I met her via training. She was a student at the time, training to be a doctor, and we got together. We stayed together for a long time. She was a big part of my life in my 20s, and around the time we got together, this was when I was really getting back into Muay Thai. I'd been away for a bit. I was like, I miss that. It was such an important part of my life, and I'd really thrown myself back into it. And that was at the time when I got together with my girlfriend when I was 20, and I got back to training. That's when I approached my coach and I said, I want to do this now, and I want you to get me as many fights as you can. And I never said that before, because my first fight, my coach had said, you're doing this. My second fight, my coach would be like, got you another one. And I hadn't done anything for a year. And then when I was 20, it was like, that I approached my coach and said, get me as many fights as you can. And I don't think many people were doing that at that point. They just didn't have the infrastructure we do now and the capacity to train people like that. But it's like, I'm going to do it. Just get me as many as you can. Then I had that horrendous fight that I mentioned. It was really tough one. I got a good win on, and started fighting more and more. So I think when I was about 21 or so, I think I took my first trip out to Thailand. Just went over 6 weeks, and it wasn't quite the same back then. It was accessible. It wasn't like a big deal to go out, but it's not like how it is now. No GoFundMe, there was no Facebook, no nothing. You had to fucking find the gym, email them, check if they would even let foreigners come out and go out and stuff. So I spent about 6 weeks out there, came back. I didn't fight in Thailand that first time, and man, I got a fucking fright when I got to Thailand in terms of training, because I think, let me see, by the time I was 21, I was fighting quite a bit, so I think I may have had a British title by that point. But either way, it was getting decent. So I rocked up to Thailand on the first day. I thought it was hot shit, and I hopped in the ring, started shadowboxing, and I did my first round of pads on proper, because we didn't really pad people in the UK properly back then. It was shitty pads and just not done correctly, and did proper rounds in Thailand, and it's and it felt like day one Muay Thai again. There was nothing in my kick. I was like, oh my god, I'm literally gonna have a fucking heart attack right now, and I suck at Muay Thai. This is the worst experience of my life. But I had a great time. Stayed there for 6 weeks. I was really sad to be leaving, and I think as the years went on, and I was fighting more and getting sort of higher level and doing better, I tried to make it back to Thailand. So I think I went 6 weeks the first time. Then the next time I went 3 months, and I did fight that time. And then the next time I did 6 months. And then I did and then I think on one of my trips where I was beginning to get like 20 odd fights by this point, a couple of British titles and stuff, and getting pretty handy with elbows and getting a lot stronger and a lot fitter. Let me see what happened next. I think I came across, I decided to want to train a little bit in Bangkok.
Yeah.
And I think my coach had been dealing with a lot of guys down in Leeds. I think Dean White and Dale White and all those, that whole sort of group of guys, and they had a connection with Sasi Parappa in Bangkok. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll try and go out there. So I contacted Sasi Parappa. I was down in Koh Samui at the time, and I was like, I'm going to train for a couple of days. And I went there for a few days, and this was years ago. Like, there wasn't a lot of Westerners there at all. There was like 1 or 2 Westerners at the gym. And now you go to Sasi Parappa, it's like, they do a good job of still training legit hard fighters, but there's loads of Westerners, loads of people coming out. There's no one, like the Scottish community in Muay Thai knows Sasi Parappa really well. A lot of people have been going to it, but I think I was one of the first, if not the first, sort of Scottish guys sort of to go out there and sort of get the foot in the door. And I spent a lot of time training there. And then I think the following year, I was like, I really did like Sasi Parappa, and I moved out there and I lived there for about like 8-9 months, and I hit the ground. And basically, I didn't have a lot of money. I gave the guy all my money for training, and I was like, okay, I live at the gym now, and I want to be fighting pretty much every month. And that was a real sort of, that really brought me on, not technically, psychologically, I think it really brought me on, because it was a really tough time, some crazy fucking fights and crazy times, and tough times cutting weight. It was the first time I fought at Lumpini and Rajat Maran. I'd had some mental fucking fights down south on the border. These guys with the AKs and fucking wagons and stuff. There's some mental shit that went on. That year that I spent in Bangkok was brilliant, but again, like, I was broke. I was really broke at that point. And like I said, no GoFundMe, no nothing. I gave all my money to the gym, so I had money. So I ate at the gym twice a day. And I had room and board, because I was staying in a room with like 5 other people, and I could train, and every month I would fight and get money for the fight. But if I wasn't getting money for the fight, and it wasn't a lot of money at all, I had like 10 baht a day. 10 baht a day is like it's like nothing, a bit of watermelon or a bag of rice or something. So I didn't have any disposable income. But having said that, we had some pretty crazy times in terms of traveling and going to fights, some of the occasions I get into. So that was, I think I got like 7-8 fights in as many months. So that was a pretty mental time. Got into some good shows in Bangkok, King's Birthday, Queen's Birthday as well, Lumpini and Rajat Maran, and all those, and a few just mental times down south. But
in Thai, obviously you've mentioned two the big stadiums here. Was that must have been a trip, the first time fighting in them? Yeah,
it was great. It was huge. And again, like, I was still kind of finding my feet as a fighter, because I'm kind of a late starter with stuff like this. And again, I was a super shy kid, and it took me a long time. And see, again, it was probably, and I've made numerous mistakes over the course of my fight career. But again, which is, I think, the nature of all fighters and all people, to look back and say, I wish I knew then what I knew now. But I think I always had trouble with the emotional side of things, and sort of dealing with that. But I think that first fight in Lumpini was great, because it was, of course, like anyone growing up in that era, even this era, knows about Lumpini and Rajat Maran. It's like the mecca of Muay Thai. So it was a big deal for me to sort of fight there the first time. Turned into a weird scenario, because what I didn't know at the time is that in Lumpini they make you weigh in butt naked. Like, so I walk up to weigh-in, like really fucking dehydrated, because I knew jack shit about weight cutting back then. So they were like, you're fighting at 66 kilos, you're 76 now, you're fighting in a month. So I was like, what am I going to do? They were like, just train and don't eat anything. I was like, okay. So I think at one point I was on like 800 calories a day, just retarded shit while training really hard. To be honest, I fucked my metabolic rate so badly, like it took me months when I come back from the UK to get myself in order again. That's another story entirely. But Lumpini, first fight there, I rocked up the weigh-in like emaciated, looking like a fucking prisoner of war, like not looking healthy at all. And I was underweight in my shorts, and they were like, shorts off. I was like, what do you mean? I'm underweight. I'm on the scales. They're like, get your fucking kid off. pants off, standing there butt naked, look in front of all these Thai guys. It's like, this is so fucking strange.
Yeah.
But
It's not as a man, from what I hear, it's not the most impressive time for you as well.
Nah.
When you're dehydrated and cutting weight. I hear there's a healthy amount of shrivelage goes on.
Imagine going outside and -5
Aye.
and times it by 10.
Aye, so you're inverted.
It's like a myth.
I wasn't me at my best, put it that way.
And it's not just, I guess it's not just that as well, because we know obviously back then you obviously not get any knowledge about weight cutting and stuff like that, but how detrimental is that affect on you actually when you finally get into the stream of fight? Did it affect you much?
Well, looking back, like that year in Bangkok,
Yeah.
I was weighing in for fights and I was cutting weight, and this was the first time I'd really had to sort of cut weight and really had to diet. And the guys there, or maybe I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say at least the information I was getting was not enough for me to cut weight correctly. I did not know what I was doing, and I was just starving myself and really, really starving myself. And looking back at it's psychological. Everything psychologically made me stronger, but physically, I don't think I came back from Thailand in good condition.
Yeah.
I think I came back physically a fucking mess. It took me about 6 months for my metabolic rate to sort of be normal and for me to get back to it. Because what would happen is I would be starving myself to get down to weight. This is like proper like eating disorder stuff. I was really starving myself, and I didn't have any money either to eat. So I was regardless. So sometimes I'd be roaming like the supermarkets, like looking at jars of Nutella, like knowing I couldn't eat it. There may have been one occasion. There's the old like chew and spit policy for weight cutting, where I've like I'm craving the Nutella so much I may or may not at one point right before a fight have been in a mall in Bangkok and taken a jar of Nutella off, taken it down, looked at it and like taken the top off and like looked left and right, like scooped it into my mouth and then be like, then I had to spit it out because I couldn't have the calories of the sugar, and then put it back. So it was dark times. It was pretty fucking dark times, and I really messed my metabolic rate up. But I was cutting weight, so I did get some advantage of being a little bit heavier. But those fights, the ones I cut a lot of weight for were Lumpini and Raja Mir. I think I fought on Raja first and Lumpini second, but stopped the guy in Raja in round 3 with low kicks and stopped the guy in Lumpini in round 2 with low kicks. So I don't know, it would be hard to know if it had gone into like later, like rounds 4 or 5, how the weight cut would affect me negatively. So who knows? Yeah,
and I mean, for your time out there and your fights in the stadiums, is there a particular fight that stands out to you, one you were really happy with, or one that you still look back and go, that's a bit frustrating, that one? Is there anything
I've got so many stories about fights and regrets. We could fill another podcast. It wouldn't be a fun podcast.
I think, no, I'm
sitting here cuddling Sean.
I wish I had more of my fights on video, because you know what, YouTube's fucked. It's just me getting fucking panelled. So of course, like if someone's putting up a fight on YouTube of me, if it's not me, it's them. So I'm not going to put up videos of me winning. So a lot of all my shittiest fights that made me most depressed and miserable, and like all those fucking dark times that came through later in my career, all those fights were on YouTube. You can see those, no problem. So I wish I had more of my fights available, because there was some crackers that I had. Honestly, not lying. I think the one I would like to see most was, okay, sort of fast forward a little bit from that time in when I lived in Bangkok. After I lived in Bangkok for a year, I went back to the UK, I forget the exact timing, and kept fighting a little bit more. But this time I was living in East Kilbride with my girlfriend. We'd been together quite a long time. That went tits up. We're so good friends, and we eventually decided we were going to break up. And she was like, she voiced it by saying, if we weren't together, what would you do? And without missing a beat, I was like, I'd be living in Thailand. So she was like, okay, let's try and work towards that. So it was quite an amicable thing. But one way or another, I ended up moving back out of Thailand. And it's a little bit different that time. I moved out and I moved to a different gym. I had a little bit more money at that point. Took my Xbox with me. Had a good group of friends. It was a much better sort of, I could make a life out there. So that was a much better time. That's when I moved there full time. Where was I going with this?
We were talking about your fights and regrets.
Yes, and when I moved out there, again, I hit the ground running, and I had quite a good run of it there, because I did 1 month at Sasi Prapa, and this was actually the first, it was only Christmas I've missed. I've not been around my family, I've not been at home, so I went out to Thailand in December, and I did a month at Sasi Prapa, and then I fought on the King's birthday. And I think I lost that fight on points, but it was a pretty good fight. And I think I broke my shin in it as well. Not badly, but I fractured it. I just remember, like, again, like I was never going to win like strategy of the year for my Muay Thai career. So I basically decided I was going to kick this guy in the leg as hard as I could, as much as I could, because it'd been working so far for me. So I did that, and this guy was like on point. He was like block, block, block. I was catching quite a bit, but he's still blocking quite a bit. And I blasted one off his shin. I felt something just like sharp pain in the leg. I was like, oh, that stung a bit. So like, fuck it, I'll go again. And the next one I threw, it was like really fucking sore. I was like, I am not fucking doing that again. But kept on going. Had a good hard fight. But I remember it was a weird one because it was the King's birthday, which is in a massive field in Bangkok. And it's a big, big festival. Loads of people out, loads of lights and stuff. And it goes on forever. And I think I fought it at 4 a.m. So it's like middle of the night, super tired, had this fight. And then I remember sitting in the field after, and I was like, my leg is fucking killing me. But got myself back to the gym. Basically just walked it off. It was okay. But I discovered later I'd put a hairline fracture all the way through it. But headed up to Chiang Mai after that for Christmas, and turned out a couple of really good friends who I knew from back in the day had also moved to the same gym, had a brilliant social group, training was good, everything got really good there, and I kind of hit the ground running. And I actually fought 2 weeks later on my broken shin. I didn't know it was broken at that point. And won by low kicks, actually, so that was nice. Fortunately, I didn't break my fucking leg in half, not yet anyway.
Yeah, that was pretty fortunate.
But the point is, I think like I had a good run of like 3 or 4 or 5 fights that I was like win. And then I had there was like northeast of Thailand, you get a lot of like, it's a poorer part of Thailand, and you get a lot of really badass, tough fighters that come out of that neck of the woods. Now, was it Sakon Nakhon? There's an area, or was it somewhere else? But either way, we used to sometimes get called over to like a TV show. It was like a Channel 5 TV show over in the East Coast, over in Isan. And we always knew when we were going there, you'd get like a tough, hard fight. There are always going to be hard guys. And that was my first time going over there. So we did like a road trip over there, got in a minivan, and we fired across east of Thailand and checked in for that. And it was like, there was a couple of German guys that were fighting as well. And me and I fought a good Thai guy. I think he was called Superboy. Not the Superboy that's going around at the moment. I guess a different Superboy. And that was a solid fight. There's been a couple of times, like Justin will probably feel as well. You know, sometimes you go in and you touch gloves and it feels like you're just blessed. Like you can't put a foot wrong. It's almost like you're watching yourself do stuff and everything's just
like
flowing perfectly. And you almost feel like you just be like, okay, I'm good. My body's got this, and just everything seems absolutely bang on. You're not even having to make an effort. I had 5 rounds of just everything felt absolutely perfect. I was catching this guy with lovely clean uppercuts and tagging on combination. My defense felt perfect, and everything just kind of locked into place just nicely. It was a really nice fight, and I beat the guy very convincingly, and I don't think I ever got that one on video. So that's probably the one I'd most like to get a copy of, but I think it's lost. I don't think I'll ever get that.
So and that's just one you're proud of?
Yeah, I think it's because it was the first, that was the first time, because not all fights are like that. Like sometimes you'll go in and you'll feel like a stuck record. It's like you're forcing every shot, distances out, you're stuttering into stuff, and it's just horrible. You have to force your way through, and you have to do what it takes anyway.
Sometimes you can see that in a fighter as well. You'll see fighters when they're walking in, and they just, especially if it's a fighter you're familiar with, and you can just see there's something off.
You see the persona. You can see when some guys walk in, and I'm trying to think, for example, like Danny Henry. You see Danny Henry walking in, and like I've been all everywhere with Danny, man. There's like sometimes from in Africa and that, we like, see the first fight in Africa we went to him, and it's the first time I'd ever actually called him Danny, so I didn't really know him very well at the time. And because I can remember saying to James like the week before I went, I think Danny had only been training was a month. I think James was like, I need somebody to go out to South Africa with Danny, can you go? And I was like, aye, I'll go. And I was like, I didn't really think he likes me though. I was like, this guy doesn't really knows me, and now we're pretty tight, we're really good mates now. But I can always remember after the first time watching him warming up, watching him walk out, and I was like, he's fucking got this, man. It's like, he's just, and now if you watch Danny when he walks out, you can always, he's always so switched on, so in the moment, and he's like, he's dead, but he's so relaxed. as well. And there's other guys you watch and sometimes who you're used to seeing like that, and then see if you notice a change in their persona, the change in the way they walk out. You're like, I've watched myself walk out in a couple of fights, and I'm like, how did
I guess you can feel it. It's like that. What is it to say? You hit this. It's like a flow state. You speak about wanting Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
When I fought on Power of Scotland, I only fought him once, and I got beat off a guy I'm actually pretty friendly now with now, Jordan Cumberland. Like, I fought on Ellenor 6 weeks before it, and had the fight of my life, exactly what you say. Had a rough first round. The next 2 rounds it was like autopilot. It was like that totally, you can't do nothing wrong, everything's unreal. And then I went out to fight Jordan Cumberland. I felt warming up in that, I felt alright, and walking out, and when I was in it was like
that just
you know what you want to do, but your body's just refusing to do it. It was teetering all over the place. I was getting sweat in my head.
It was painful. It's the worst feeling.
Oh man, it's like,
and that's the type of fight where sometimes you come out of that and you won, and you're like, fuck,
wow, how the fuck did I pull that?
You're like, you take the box, you get it done, you got the win, but you don't feel good about yourself sometimes.
I guess the thing is as well, when you do hit that state like you're talking about, there's just 5 rounds and it's just everything is going perfect for you. I guess it must be hard to try and put your finger on, right, what happened that night. And I'm assuming you try and recreate it. And I'm assuming it's very difficult to do. Obviously,
I think it's very personal as well, down to each individual.
Every fighter different.
Every fight, you never fight the same fight twice. It doesn't mean it's like sparring. Me and Sean can go and spar 12 rounds.
I can spar 12 rounds.
No chance. But that's what I'm saying. But every round, there'd be Sean would batter me and kick my leg off. It's like you'd never hear the same 3-minute round twice. Ever. And it's like you can come in here every single Sunday and you'll watch guys spar with each other week in, week out, week in, week out, round after round after round, and I'll guarantee you'll see traits. Because people learn how people work. If you're sparring with guys week in, week out, you learn things with each other. But I'll guarantee it's never the same person who edges around every week. It'll flip on its seat. It'll be tit for tat. And one guy will do. Say one guy's head movement's perfect one week. The next week he sees like a bouncy ball. Just like, do you know what I mean? It's like you never hear the same 2 rounds. You never hear, like, even when you're in a fight. If you're in a 5-round fight, round 1 to round 5, it'll be you'll hear a different version of yourself every single round. Even in the perfect fights, because you're adapt. Like, in the perfect fights, you're not autopilot. It's just your body's just reacting to whatever your opponent gives you. It's just even thinking about the feeling, it's just surreal. It's like it's because you don't even know that fight or more. I was talking about. I know the guy with the right elbow, and I turned to James. I was like, "What the hell?"
Is it
it's like I didn't even know what I'd done.
Is it almost just in all the training, everything you've put your body through, all the muscle memory, everything just clicks into place, and the body just
goes,
just takes over and goes?
I think at a personal level as well, it's when I'm calm and confident. There's sometimes I walk out. Sometimes you're walking out, and you're like, you know for a fact that you're gonna win. You know it. And again, when you really break that down, that's an emotion that you don't delude yourself, but you convince yourself of that. So in your head at that point, you're like, I'm 100% going to win. There is no doubt in your head that you do that. When you're in that frame, man, and you're relaxed, then you'll tend to perform well.
You're dangerous.
I mean, that's an oversimplification. It's not always like that, but in general, that's
really dumb. Like, it's like if you're calm and relaxed, then you're in the moment, and you're like, "This is mine. I've fucking got this."
And I normally get into that mindset when I know I've trained really well, and I know that I hate. There's nothing worse than walking into a ring going, you know what, I should have done some fucking head runs. I should have worked out a little bit more on that, a little bit more on this.
Putting that down on you, isn't it?
That's where the confidence comes though, because if you know I think me and you spoke about this before. You know you've put in that work in the gym. Like, you're like, I'm a big believer in, and I kind of blowing smoke up at the gym, it's harsh, but it's true. Every one of us in here who fight, Sean and all that, the guys, anybody who's been under the dinking and just, you leave no stone unturned in the fight camps. Whether you want to or no, you're not getting the choice. But everybody that trains with us that's ever fought under our fight team banner, we'll go look through the list of guys. It's all studs, you know what I mean? And even the girls too, because the main reason isn't that because they want it, they put in the work. It's like, and and when you're in the cage, when you're in the ring, there's nowhere to hide. So see if you're kidding on, if you're maybe half-arsing your hell runs or your hills or your strength conditioning or you're arsing about with your diet and your weight cut, the only time that's going to show is when you're in the bright lights. And And nobody wants to be stood up there and making.
One of the amazing things about fighting is that it shows everyone who you really are.
Aye.
When you're there is no hiding, because you're in there and everyone is watching you. Everyone can see exactly what you're made of, and
I guess if you feel underprepared, 'cause it's one of the big things in fighting. It's such a mental side to it and the psychological side, because you always hear the stories. There's guys that are fantastic and amazing in the gym, absolute killers,
just can't
but
come
put them
up.
in the bright lights. I think I've spoke to Martin Russell as well, and he said he's like, it's just once it comes to the fight, he's like, it's just it's mentally it's difficult.
See, this man, he's an absolute stud.
But that's one of the things I guess you can train to an element, but psychologically it's something. If you kind of go over that yourself, then it's just one of those things.
Some people can't get past it. It's like a mental block, as you say.
Yeah.
But there's other people who. There's guys who you can see in the gym. You're like, when we're up there fight, you're like, fucking hell, what are you doing, man? And then on the night, bam,
absolutely,
they're like, they're that autopilot guy. They're there, and you're like, wow, this guy's a fucking killer. And you've seen, and then week in, week out in the gym, you're like, fucking hell, you're like, oh man, you're looking at him sparring, you're sparring with him, and he's taking shots and making mistakes, and you're like, fucking hell, he's fighting in a week? This guy's fighting in a week.
Yeah.
And then on the night, it's like,
And it's
you
one of
stood back, you're like, fuck me, I was worried about that, and he just went in and absolutely smashed it out the park.
And out the two, the one you want to be is probably the latter.
absolutely.
You want to be, because you don't.
Absolutely.
Like, do you hear so much? I've heard Michael Bisping, you hear so many fighters talk about this. They talk about all their best rounds are in the gym. They leave all their best rounds in the gym, and they can never. And Michael Bisping's going to say, obviously, that Luke Rockhold performance was probably his best in his career, and that was the one that was late notice. It was like, okay, say, what can all I can do is go in there and do my best in 2 weeks.
There's loads of guys a guy who I'm friendly with, I've known my life, Colin Baxter, man. You never, like, he's still, like, his kid trains here. I think I still see Colin hitting about that. He's a great guy, he's class. But in the gym, he was an absolute killer machine, man. And then something, I think the best, maddest fight ever was like, it's when he trained with Josh Gavin and stuff at Hostel Test. Remember, he went to a show and like, wasn't meant to be fighting. Somebody's opponent never turned up and he was like, I'll fight. Didn't have gum shield, didn't have nothing, and he gave it, and I swear, man, he rinsed the guy in under a minute or something, and like nearly took his head off. But then sometimes we seen Colin with the full training camp, you knew he was a killer machine and that, and then sometimes he just couldn't, like, not to incredible the guy because he's a great guy and he was an absolute animal, but he just couldn't get into that zone where you were, like, everybody knew he had it, like, you just know he's a savage, like, he's probably one of the most gifted guys.
Managing pressure though, because everyone's a little bit different, but I mean, like we talked about before, if you can be going into the ring relaxed and confident with nothing to lose, let's just say relaxed and confident, you're going to perform well. Now, different people are going to find that different ways. Like, some people are going to do it by leaving absolutely no stone unturned. Yeah. But there's a certain type of person as well, and I'm sure we've all come across it before, that they don't want that pressure because they're like, I've left no stone unturned, so what if I go in now and I don't lose, I don't win, what does that say about me? So I've got some great friends who back in the day, like, would routinely go out and get absolutely blazing drunk the night before
to give themselves an excuse,
because so that the next day if they lost they'd be like, you know what. But also, having said that, it also put them into a more relaxed frame of mind, so there's a trade-off there. They're going in fucking hung over to shit. And if they lose and go, oh well, you know what, I was out drinking, you know what, if I'd not been drinking, I would have done fine. But having said that, because they were out drinking, now the pressure's off. So now the pressure's off. So now they go in relaxed and confident.
I guess that just, I guess it kind of just shows that the human condition varies from person to person.
We had this Thai coach in Chiang Mai one time. He was awesome. What was his name? Wong, I think. He was a former male stripper. He's a fucking hilarious guy. But he was like 5 foot nothing. He's like 5 foot nothing, a little pot belly male stripper. He used to cut around these little waterfront stuff. But he was a pretty badass fighter as well, and a chronic alcoholic. He also liked to bet. He's a great guy.
It's your typical Thai, you know.
So one time, like, he got us into scenarios like that. There's a lot of money to be made in Thailand, not in the fight purse, but in the betting. It's huge. So normally what happens is, like, this coach is going to fight the coach, or this guy from this team is going to fight the guy from the other gym across town, and they're all going to get money together. They're all going to put the money in. There's some serious money goes around, especially by Thai standards. So we're like, Wong is going to fight one of the guys from the other gym. And then he fucking disappeared, and no one could find him. And we're like, dude, the fucking fights today, like, everyone's getting like their fucking life savings. Like, you gotta turn up at the gym, and you got to turn up and fucking win the fight. And eventually we found him, and he was just fucking destroyed drunk. And we're like, dude, what are you doing? You're fucking wasted. And he's like he's falling asleep in the ring. We're like, what the fuck do we do with him? So we fucking piled him into the back of the pickup truck to get the fight show. So you get everywhere in town. And we're like, Christ, to like get him along. And he's like got himself another beer. He's like kind of waking up. We got him to the fight show and like wrapped him up. We're like, go. And he fucking jumped and fucking chinned this guy, like uppercut, left hook, low kick, bam, 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 scudded him out. He's like, we good. Got back in the fucking van, passed out again. We just trundled off.
Well, I guess that's one way to remove the pressure and stuff like that.
I can always mind years ago, I can't remember, at a Thai show in East Kilbride, for Kenny Stewart fought on it, I think Joanne fought on it, and Rung was fighting somebody.
Yeah.
And like I can always remember, like I was dead young. I think I was only training with James a wee while at the time. I was the one just training Thai. I wasn't interested in it at the time. I was obsessed with Thai boxing. And it was like, I remember throwing up and there was this wee guy, Thai guy standing outside smoking. And I was like, it's the first time like I still wasn't really clued up on Thai boxing at all. I was just kind of starting out, and I was just starting to go to shows and stuff like that, because when I was training and there was guys for gym fight and stuff. And I could always mind I've seen there was like a carry out in the changing room and that. Like this wee guy had the training room games, and he went out and fought, and oh my god.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable. Like, and I was like, but it's the first, like I can remember to me, like, that was the first time I'd ever like experienced anything like that. I was like, this guy's like, because you seen him warming up and that, but he had like 10 minutes before he was smoking a flag, and I'm like, what is going on here?
Again, that's a testament to like a lifetime of like hundreds and hundreds of fights. I mean, you're talking about being relaxed. I mean, when you've had 200-300 fights, people scudding elbows off your heads of the lifestyle, the lifetime of that. You're like, it's another fight. Come on, let's go.
That's the thing, I guess. Obviously, with a lot of MMA fighters, not you maybe fight 3 months, 6 months, and that. So the fights are fairly slow in coming. You've got a lot of time to think about it. With Thailand,
and there's a lot more pressure on the individual fights because they're so few and far between, and probably a win or a loss is way more important when you're fighting that.
Nowadays as well, if you're fighting so spaced out, or especially all the amateur guys now as well, all the amateur guys are kind of aspiring to be. To get somewhere now, it's like there's a lot of amateur guys training full time. Like even when I started training MMA, like, there wasn't that many guys who fought. The main guys who I knew when I was first starting out training with James, still fighting Thai at the time, and I just kind of tried to transition there. Sean was one of the main guys training full time. There was obviously James, Paul, Robert Whiteford, like Dean, all the guys at the grip basically. When we
C-Rab's fight on Bellator.
Let's just
wow, man.
You've just segued perfectly before we give Cali Ellenor a call, who's obviously talk about pressure, he's got a big fight coming up, but quickly Robert Whiteford's fight was a crazy finish, a great fight. I felt like he was behind in the fight, and he pulled it out the bag.
He took some shots in that fight.
Hey, Sam Cecilia,
you know what?
Sam Cecilia.
I didn't see the whole fight. I'm friends with Whiteford and with Dean Riley. Like, so we all went out for dinner a couple of nights ago. Sugo in town. Like they had some sort of promotion thing. I don't know how they managed it, but Dean was like, "It's cool. It's all for free." So we managed to go along there. I haven't seen the boys in fucking years, so it's great. And Rab's a good chat. Also, he's a fucking lunatic as well. That fucking guy, honestly, he's got some fucking stuff to answer for in the gym.
He's got some crazy stories to
I
tell.
did see the finish, and he's always just been so fucking heavy hand. He's got hard punches, and the last couple of shots he caught that guy with, but just there's no need for that, Rab.
I think it was one of those fights as well. I think Rab had come out and says it before, because what it showed Rab how good Rab's chin is, because Sam Cecilia can crack as well. Does get some heavy hands.
Who could have started that?
And then finishing up with
just
the
like sat him down. I was like, wow.
And I think the thing as well with Rab is in his post-fight interview, it was pretty honest about how things have been the last couple of years. It was pretty emotional, and it was, I mean, all round that was a great night for Scottish MMA. Obviously Chris Bongard, late replacement, but he went in there and took care of business in a minute and a half.
Guy turns up. You can't say nothing about Bongi. I got one man, he's a great guy. I think he's funny, but one thing about him, like every time he's been put under bright lights, he turns up. I
think the big thing with Chris as well, as we spoke on it earlier, you could see in Chris's fight against Charlie Leary, that was always got to be a tough fight, because people look at Charlie's record and go, but at the end of it knows how good Charlie is.
Charlie's a monster.
And I think Chris going into that fight, you could sort of see he had a really bad weight cut, and he addressed that going into this one, which helped. There's
that as well. But the same with man Terry Brazier, man. Everybody wrote Bongard off in that fight for stud reasons, man. Brazier's a a killer, like when he's on his game. But as you go again, we're talking about somebody who's maybe guys here slide. Razor's no fought to his potential for the past 2-3 fights now. But that happens to people, and they take that away from the guys who've beat him as well, because it just shows how good they are and what they're capable of to beat a guy of that standard as well. Because even though you can say maybe somebody's on a slide, but you're no down crying somebody because maybe they are kind of running bad luck. It does happen because, as I said earlier, you don't turn up the same to a fight twice. It's like, and it's two guys can go in and be the most technically gifted, the most athletically gifted, absolute monsters in their own right. But there's going to be one guy wins, one guy loses. It's who turns up on the night, or sometimes it comes down to his Roberts fight. Maybe who wants it more. Who wants it.
Yeah, it really looks like
it's a huge factor.
Yes, I think we'll obviously we'll give Gallagher and get a chat to him, because he said, talk about an up and down roller coaster recently psychologically.
I'm actually pretty friendly with Carl.
Well, that's good.
He's one of my good mates.
We'll give him a call to speak to him. So we'll give Cal a call now. Cal, thanks very much for coming on the Higher Level podcast, mate. Always a pleasure to chat to you.
Always a pleasure to chat to you as well, mate. Thank you.
No, it's always a pleasure. It's been obviously a bit of a crazy year for you, very up and down, but finally matched with James Gallagher again out in Dublin. So just talk us through how crazy it's been, from obviously not thinking you were ever going to fight again to now getting that massive opportunity back.
Oh, it's been crazy, to be honest, mate. I'm just over the moon it's came back around. Like, I feel like obviously, like, Bellator knew the situation, you know what I mean? It was out of my hands, so I feel like they kind of felt like they owed it to me as well, you know. And I know James was still keen on fighting me, and I obviously still really wanted to fight him. And John Kavanagh had come out and said that was a tough fight for James, and they want to test him and stuff like that. So I feel like everything was like in the right position to get the fight set back up, you know what I mean? So it was just amazing to hear that they were up for it, you know what I mean? As soon as everything got cleared and they were saying that I was able to compete again, and pretty much messages straight away saying, look, well, we'll get the fight straight back on, so just don't say anything yet. We'll send you your contract and we'll get it set straight back up. And then that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's great that you've got that opportunity again. What was that period like for you, obviously, when you'd lost the Gallagher fight back then, and then you had to go through that period of thinking, right, can I ever fight again? I heard you saying before that was very difficult, because obviously fighting becomes part of your identity, and it's almost like losing part of yourself.
It was, like, obviously it was weird. It didn't feel like it was really happening. Like, it didn't feel normal. Like, when I was looking at, like, considering like the way I fight as well, like, I don't feel like I ever really take much damage, except the Nathan Grayson fight where I took a bit of a shoe in there. But aside from that, I never really get hit with much, and especially in sparring as well, I don't feel like I ever really get much damage. So I was thinking, well, how can this be the case for me? And then you've got the likes of Justin Gaethje, where, like, you know what I mean, like, how can he be clear to get fights when look at the damage he takes every time? So I couldn't get my head around it, and it was really like, it just didn't seem fair at all. I felt like I'd kind of finally got to the place where I believe I should be, and fighting at them kind of stages, you know what I mean? And then for them to take it from us, it just ruined my life. And then obviously all that was going on, but like, it was weird timing as well, because like all that was going on there, obviously when with the brain scans and stuff at the same time as my mum would be in intensive care. And then the day I was supposed to actually fight James was the day my mum went into a coma. And then it was like 2 weeks later, my mum actually passed away. So I had all that going on at the same time. So in a weird way, that kind of like took my mind off all the stuff that was going on about me fighting and stuff, you know what I mean? Like, that was obviously just there as well, but it was more so like I was more down about my mum and just like dummy about that, you know what I mean? So that kind of took a load of me attention off that, and then I kind of ended up in there like I was in just a crap spot, you know what I mean, for a good few weeks. And then obviously when that whole thing came around about the fight coming back on, and that was just something that really like lifted us back up, and there's a motivation to get back in the gym, you know what I mean? Like, I've been back in the gym constantly since, and I've been rolling with Ellis Younger constantly. Like, I've trained with Ellis for for about 3.5 years now, but like last really dedicated myself and train with him twice a day and that now, and I just feel like I'm at the best level I've ever been, and I can't wait to go in there and show this fight and show a completely different side of us that not many people have seen, or not many people probably think I've got, you know. Like obviously if I feel like John Kavanagh and I, if they're watching my last fight, which was February, and thinking that's the same, then they're sadly mistaken, you know what I mean, because I'm like miles ahead of what I was, you know what I mean. So I'm just buzzing to have the opportunity to go, especially there as well, and go and have the fight I believe I'm going to have, and really just do this for myself and my family and stuff, you know what I mean. I feel like really just like for my mum as well, like obviously I'm going to dedicate it around, just do it for her. So I am absolutely buzzing to have it back on, and just glad that it'll be good to get the James fight out of the way and have that section of my life put behind us, you know what I mean, because it's all I've thought about since the first time we got matched up. Even when the fight was gone, it was all I thought about, and then when I knew it was coming back on, even before they announced it, so it's all I've thought about for months now, and I just want to hurry up, just get to the night and just feel that whole process again of actually having the fight, you know what I mean. And regardless whatever happens, I just kind of want to get it done and get it behind us and move on to bigger and better things.
Is it almost then that getting that James fight, obviously you went through such a difficult time professionally and obviously personally, losing a parent is one of the most difficult things anybody can experience. Do you feel that then going out to Dublin now and trying to get that win against James, does it almost make some of those things that you've went through worth it? Obviously not in the personal sense, but professionally.
Yeah, definitely. I just feel like everything works itself out in the end, you know. Like, I feel like everything happens for a reason. I feel like that whole thing with the scans and stuff like that, and it just obviously was just some of that just wasn't meant to be. Like everything that could have went wrong around that time did, and I just feel like maybe for some reason that just wasn't meant to be. And now that it's back on, I feel like there's nothing stopping us, you know what I mean. Like there's literally, like, I'm more motivated now than I've ever been in my life, and I feel like I'm at the right age now as well to actually have this kind of fight to get us onto that next kind of level, that next platform as well, if I do win, in the way I believe I will. So I just feel like it's all just, in a weird way, just worked itself out, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And obviously just some other recent news that's come out of Bellator. Your coach is now re-signed with Bellator. Is there a potential we could see Fisher in Dublin at all? Is that a possibility?
I would love it to be. This is something I've spoken to Fisher quite a lot about. You know, it's always been something I've wanted, but I've always wanted to have that experience of us fighting on the same show together. You know, I feel like that's something I've wanted since I first started being coached by him. You know, like 10 years ago, whatever it was, and it's never happened. But now there's the possibility of it. We're being back to Bellator, but he's not going to be ready till after that date. He said April will be the earliest, you know what I mean? So I know that Dublin's out in the picture. I mean, unless they offer him somebody like...
Yeah. Oh. Give my call back. We were saying about Fisher, he's not going to be ready to April, so is it something for the future then, potentially getting on a show with him?
Yeah, I'd love that, definitely. It's something I've always wanted, you know. It's something that I'd like to have for my career, and just to have that kind of thing with him as well. You know, it's a crazy experience fighting anyway, you know what I mean, any show, and to be able to go through it together, even though you do with your coach anyway, you know, like obviously like as James probably tell you to, or however, you know, like you're coaching your students, you kind of all feeling the same thing anyway, but like to actually have the fight on the same card together, I feel like that would be special, you know what I mean. I feel like that would be something I'd really enjoy doing. So hopefully that's something that I'm asked for if I beat James, and that's what I'll see. Let us fight in the same card, you know what I mean.
Well, that's it. I mean, well, if you can get a win against James, it really gets you up there. And gets you. I mean, James has obviously got a massive profile with Bellator. Obviously, you've got a really good profile in the UK, but this puts you across the pond as well. So it's a massive opportunity, and obviously, James is a very, very good fighter. When you've had the opportunity to look at James, where do you feel you match up well against him?
I feel like honestly, I know he's good at what he does. He's got a nice body lock sequence that he uses a lot. He's good at tackling the back, but I feel like on his back he's not great. I feel like every fight I've watched him when he's been on his back, he hasn't really showed that he does anything too special off there. So I feel like if I'm on top of him, I'll cause him a lot of problems. And I feel like on my feet, I feel like people still are yet to kind of see the level I believe I'm at. Like I feel like every time I fight, like I've never truly done myself a justice and felt like I've actually fought the way I want to fight. Like me striking is probably my best attribute, and I never really get much of a chance to let my hands go. And I feel like this is a stylistic fight where I'm going to be able to show them kind of skills, So I feel like my advantages in this fight is just keeping it long and just peppering with shots. I'm not going to rush in and do anything stupid and try and put them away early. Like I push a hard pace anytime I'm in a fight, whether it's 3 rounds or 5 like I fought before. I always push a hard pace, and I feel like that's my attribute. I feel like me willingness to win and me determination is probably my best attributes. Like I feel like it's going to take someone special to put us away. Like obviously I've lost the decision before, but I feel like to put us away, like I feel like it'll be hard. I feel like I don't quit, and I feel like he does. I feel like when it's not going his way, he kind of breaks a bit, and I feel like that in a sense he's a bit of a mental midget. Like when he's winning, he's the big shot, and when it's not gone his way, he doesn't look that great, and he makes stupid mistakes, and that's where I feel like I'll capitalise. Like I feel like I'll make mistakes, and it'll give me opportunities, and I definitely see myself putting them away, whether it be a stoppage or submission. I'm not really bothered, but I do see myself finishing it within the distance. So just the pace I put on him, that's what I feel like is going to be the determining factor in this. Like that's how I think I'll win. Just getting in his face and just making it a messy fight.
Something as well we've actually spoke about in this show, Sean, Justin and myself, is about fighters turning up on the night and giving their best under the big lights, and this is going to be it's obviously a massive show. You're going to be headlining biggest fight of your career, and you've obviously made a lot of adjustments as well in terms of nutrition and working with Dean Kirk. Do you feel that this is your opportunity to show the best Carl Ellenor anyone's seen?
110%, like definitely. Like I already had it like taken away from us once, you know what I mean? So that just kind of made it clear to me how much I actually do want to be a fighter and how much I actually really do love like this life. Like I feel like it's not a life that like obviously if it was easy everyone would do it and everyone would be fighting in these kind of fights, and it's not. It's hard, you know what I mean? And to have it taken away from us and then to have another shot at it is just, and to know how much I want this just really does shows how much I want to just have this life, be a fighter. And this is the perfect opportunity for me to prove to everyone. A lot of people who've doubted this, loads of people who've said whatever they've said about me or disregarded my skill set. This is a perfect opportunity for me to show them like where it's at and show them where I believe I am. You know what I mean? So under the lights and stuff like that, like I feel like there's no pressure on me at all. So I just want to go in and just show how good I am. Yeah. And I believe people will say that. I feel like obviously people either love James or they hate him, but either way, people watch his fights and he's got a massive following and stuff like that. And this is my opportunity to slip up under the rug and just take it all from him. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what I believe I'll do. So that's a perfect opportunity, as you say. And I just want to hurry up and get it done. I just want to be there now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and well, I mean, from us, Cal, obviously we're really looking forward to the fight, and obviously best of luck in February when it comes.
I really appreciate it, mate. Thank you.
And Justin, I thought you were going to say something.
No. I've already spoke to Cal about this.
So you have chatted.
I've spoken about this.
But listen, Cal, thanks very much for coming on the show. Always appreciate it. It's always a pleasure to chat to you, mate. And obviously, best of luck with the fight in Dublin when it comes against James Gallagher.
Nice one, mate. I really appreciate it. Justin, get yourself in training with us soon, mate. We've get some training in for this fight, absolutely.
Definitely.
just ring us, mate, and we'll sort something out.
Definitely, mate.
Brilliant.
Legend. Cheers, lads.
See you later, bro.
Cheers, Cal.
Cheers, man. Nice one. See you in a bit.
Right.
Well, guys, that was Cal Ellenor on the phone, obviously calling in to chat to us in a higher level podcast. And obviously, got to thank our guests that have come in the studio. Sean Wright, thanks very much for coming in.
Cheers, guys.
And Justin Flanagan, always a pleasure.
I'm always here all the time.
You're always happy to go in and have a wee seat. Try not move in that chair.
Oh man, my arse cheeks on them.
But listen, guys, thanks for tuning in. As always, you can catch us on YouTube and just subscribe to the channel and give us some feedback on what you think of the show. Cheers.